The Lost Wallet Part 4. Tom sat in the darkness of his apartment, the only light coming from the faint glow of his laptop screen. The files on Eleanor Voss were now spread across his desk: financials, personal connections, illicit dealings, everything he could dig up. Each new piece of information fueled the fire inside him. He was no longer the man who had trusted Jason with his loyalty, nor the man who had been duped by Eleanor's charm and promises. No, he was someone else now. Someone colder. Someone who had nothing left to lose. Jason had thought he could win Eleanor's trust by betraying Tom, but all it had done was expose just how expendable he truly was. Jason had believed he could play the game, but now he was nothing more than a pawn, thrown away when he was no longer useful. And Eleanor? She thought she could break him. She thought she could use him, manipulate him, and crush him under her heel. But now, Tom saw her for what she truly was, a predator who fed off the destruction of others. He was done being prey. He thought back to the moment in that small, dimly lit room when Jason had confessed everything. The betrayal. The lies. But it wasn't just Jason's confession that had struck Tom, it was the realization of how small they both were in Eleanor's world. He had felt helpless then, his heart racing in panic, believing there was no way out. But now? Now he saw the truth: Eleanor wasn't untouchable. She was vulnerable. She'd just never had anyone fight back. Tom grinned darkly to himself. Time to make her feel the same helplessness he'd felt. His first move was simple: sever all ties with Jason. Tom knew Jason wasn't just a fool, he was a coward, too. He'd chosen to betray his best friend to gain some fleeting sense of power. He'd been used by Eleanor, but Tom would not make that same mistake. Tom picked up his phone and dialed Jason's number, the sound of the ringing filling the otherwise quiet room. Jason picked up on the third ring, his voice shaking, unsure. "Tom?" Jason's voice cracked with uncertainty. I didn't think you'd still." Tom cut him off, his voice cold, every word heavy with anger. "Don't call me. Don't ever call me again. You're not my friend. You're a traitor. And I'm done with you." There was a long pause, then a soft, almost pleading tone from Jason. "Tom, I didn't mean." "Shut up." Tom's voice hardened. "You've already said everything you needed to. I've seen who you really are, Jason. And I'm done. Get out of my life." He ended the call before Jason could say another word. Jason had no idea what was coming for him. No idea that Tom wasn't just angry. He was prepared to make them both pay. The next day, Tom visited the abandoned warehouse on the outskirts of the city. The one place where all the illicit dealings, the money laundering, the dirty business went down. This was Eleanor's real domain. Not the sleek office buildings, not the high-rise meetings. Those were just her facade, her playground. But here? Here was where her true power, her darkness, resided. Tom had spent days tracking down every lead, every hidden channel. He had contacts of his own now, people who were more than willing to turn on Eleanor for the right price, for the right leverage. He had made deals in the shadows, and now, he had what he needed. The warehouse was empty when he arrived, save for a few lingering figures, a couple of thugs keeping watch, no doubt unaware of what was coming. Tom's heart beat steadily as he approached the back door. His plan had two parts: destroy Eleanor and make Jason feel the sting of his own betrayal. He pulled out his phone and shot a quick text to Jason: "You're nothing but a pawn, Jason. You were never part of her world. You were just a tool for her, disposable. I'll show you how she really works." Jason was already scared, Tom could feel it. He had betrayed Tom, but now it was Tom's turn to show Jason just how helpless it felt to be tossed aside, discarded, left to rot. Tom stepped inside the warehouse, moving quickly and quietly through the shadows. The figures who had been watching the entrance were now distracted, their backs turned as they focused on a low conversation. It was a moment of perfect opportunity. Tom made his move, slipping past them and into the deeper corridors of the building. Eleanor's office was just ahead. Tom had already taken care of the surveillance system, now, it was just a matter of timing. He pushed the door open. Eleanor was sitting behind her desk, her back to him, completely unaware of the threat looming in the shadows. Tom had been studying her every move, her patterns, and now, he could see the cracks in her facade. He could feel the power he had once thought she had over him slipping away. She turned around, a smirk playing at her lips when she saw him. "Tom," she said, her voice like silk. "I didn't expect you to come back so soon. Or did you just miss me?" Tom didn't smile. He didn't speak. He reached into his jacket and pulled out a small flash drive. He walked over to her desk and dropped it in front of her. Eleanor eyed it, raising an eyebrow. "What's this?" "You've always been one step ahead of me, haven't you?" Tom said, his voice icy. "But I'm not stupid, Eleanor. I've been following the money, the contracts, the ties you've been hiding. And this?" He pointed to the flash drive. "This is just the beginning. I've got everything. The truth about your little empire. The things you thought no one would ever find. I've taken everything from you." Eleanor's eyes flickered with something, fear, perhaps. She stood up, her voice sharp. "You think you can take me down with a few files? You think this is enough?" Tom stepped closer, his eyes locked onto hers. "I don't just want to take you down, Eleanor. I want to make you feel what I felt when you used me. When you threw me away. You won't win this. You'll never be able to control me again." He pulled out his phone, sending one last message. "The first file is with the police. The second one is going to the media. It's only a matter of time before everything you built comes crumbling down. And as for you, Jason." The door to Eleanor's office slammed open. Jason walked in, his face pale, eyes wide with fear. He had clearly received Tom's message, and from the look on his face, he understood exactly what was happening. He was just as trapped as Eleanor. But as Tom looked at Jason, something twisted inside him, a mix of satisfaction and vindication. Jason wasn't getting off easy. Eleanor's eyes darted to Jason, then back to Tom. "You wouldn't." Tom grinned, the cold satisfaction of revenge beginning to settle in his chest. "I would." And with that, the storm was unleashed. The power, the control, the deception, all of it was crashing down. Jason, caught in the middle, would never be able to escape the consequences of his betrayal. And Eleanor? She was just as vulnerable as anyone else. No one was invincible. Not her. Not Jason. Not anymore. Tom wasn't just surviving anymore. He was winning. And in the end, that was all that mattered.